funny thing? The boxing people don't know more. The only thing they know is how much the guy runs and trains. But when they come in 2 men in the ring, anything can happen. I don't care what, anything can happen.
Urgency, or he's overrated. And I'm not saying he's that. I'm just saying that it didn't matter enough to go and do what he had to do.
Was actually countering Canelo Alvarez quite a bit. So as Canelo would throw, he would just sit there, wait, block, and then boom, an uppercut or a right hand. Another mistake that Canelo was making too is he was throwing like one shot, and then he was coming back square.
Terence Crawford's dominant victory over Canelo Alvarez has completely changed the narrative around both fighters, and the reactions from the boxing community reflect the magnitude of this moment. Crawford's skill, precision, and ability to dictate the fight exposed every criticism that had lingered around Canelo Alvarez's career for years. Mike Tyson was one of the first major figures to react, bluntly calling Canelo Alvarez overrated after the loss. Tyson explained that once Canelo shared the ring with Crawford, the myth of his dominance evaporated. He noted that Crawford didn't just win, he controlled everything, making Canelo look ordinary.
Are you gonna catch him? My man's telling me, but when those guys started beating Chavez was already an old man, though. I gotta get from then, though. You gotta get him there. You know, you have close on. It was, man, he got him beaten in like 90-0 before he got beat. Oh. You gotta look at those scenarios too, man.
Teddy Atlas, a respected trainer and longtime analyst, echoed Tyson's view, but went even further in breaking down why Canelo's reputation had always been inflated. Atlas argued that Canelo's career was carefully managed by promoters and the media, who built him into the king of boxing without fans questioning whether he was truly tested against the best.
Fighters up in arms. We actually sometimes said he fought a smart fight. But when he didn't fight the kind of fight to make it an entertaining fight against our guy, against the popular Canelo, again, the king, so to speak, then we completely attacked the guy. So I think that that's got to be looked at a little bit, to be fair.
Other analysts agreed, saying that Canelo's defeat to Crawford revealed truths that had been glossed over for years. Many highlighted how early in his career he was not only dominated by Floyd Mayweather, but also caught in performance-enhancing drug controversies. While those accusations eventually faded, some critics never forgot. For them, this loss reinforced the idea that Alvarez's success was always built on shaky foundations.
Alright, this guy right here is overrated as fuck, and I'm gonna tell you why. Now, early on in his career, when he was the young up-and-coming contender, undefeated at the time, we all remember that infamous match with Floyd Mayweather where he just got dog-walked. Floyd Mayweather completely outboxed him, completely outclassed him. That fight ended up being a split decision, which is crazy because if you've seen the fight with your own two eyes, I don't think Canelo landed one clean punch on Mayweather the entire fight, and it wasn't even close. Also, early on in his career, he was accused and caught cheating performance enhancers, and you know what they say, once a dirty fighter, always a dirty fighter. Even though that's not factually the case, because he was able to move on with his career, bounce back from that loss, bounce back from the cheating accusations, and make like a great boxing legacy for himself. In the court of public opinion, normally with most fighters that are, you know, caught cheating at any point in this career, it always sticks with them. But with Canelo, it seems like everybody forgets. Now, obviously, to this day, he's still looked at as one of the faces, if not the face of boxing. But I think the way people accuse Floyd, especially in the back half of his career, of picking and choosing his fights, you know, protecting his own, protecting his legacy, Canelo definitely has followed the Floyd Mayweather model. Not only in his game, he became a more defensive fighter after fighting Mayweather, and especially as of late, he's not taking as much punishment, but it's also because he's not fighting very dangerous fighters, and when he does, he gets exposed. One of his also top, more formidable opponents was Triple G, that trilogy. The first fight was a draw. The second two fights, Canelo won by unanimous decision and ununanimous decision for the third, but I don't think the results, you know, reflected the fight.
Mike Tyson's reaction carried even more weight because he had predicted before the fight that Terence Crawford would outbox Canelo Alvarez. Tyson expressed total confidence in Crawford's skills, saying Bud could beat anyone. His pre-fight belief only amplified his post-fight assessment. Tyson said that once the fight played out, it was clear Crawford's adaptability and dominance were simply too much for Canelo.
What? 50-50. I want to say Crawford. Why am I saying 50-50?
You don't think it's 50-50?
60-40, but you gonna tell him which one?
You think Crawford can stop him?
Crawford can stop anybody. I'm not saying he can't, he's going to.
Abel Sanchez, another respected trainer, admitted he was stunned by Crawford's performance. Sanchez had expected Canelo's power and experience to matter more, but instead Crawford dismantled him from the very beginning. Sanchez said that Bud never allowed Canelo to establish rhythm, smothering every attack with timing, defense, and footwork. For Sanchez, it wasn't just the win, but the way Crawford won that shocked him.
A great game plan. Bomac put something together that few people expected, including myself. The scores were just the opposite of what I thought they were going to be, but Terence looked great.
What do you think was the turning point of the fight, or did you just think from the inception there was no way? Was there a point where you saw, hey man, this just doesn't look good?
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
From the beginning, and then Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
Abel, starting in the 8th round, we saw noticeable frustration and irritation from Canelo Alvarez, and at one point, 11th and 12th, he looked like he almost walked away, like he almost decided this is too much.
You know, you remember the Hagler,
Duran.
The Duran.
I was thinking that.
Fight?
I was thinking that. I didn't want to disrespect Champ by asking him that post-fight, but those were the images that came to my mind. I was going to ask him if he understood more of Duran's plight that night.
Yeah, you can kind of. Duran had a reason, supposedly because he had stomach problems or something like that. But
right, he said he ate 2 steaks and drank a pot of coffee in New Orleans.
Sometimes frustration causes you to say things that maybe were not true. You know, Terence just fought a great fight, man. You can't. Virtuoso fight, the kind of fight that we're not going to see for a while, and there's nobody out there that can give Terence that kind of test again. And when you have a great fighter that has put up another great fighter, and it happens like this, is you just have to bow your head and, you know, that's the king right now.
Simon Jordan, a prominent commentator, also weighed in on the financial side of the fight. He noted the irony that despite being dominated, Canelo Alvarez still earned a massive $150 million purse, while Terence Crawford, who made history, took home significantly less. Jordan argued that this highlighted boxing's flaws, where reputation and star power often outweigh actual results inside the ring. Reactions weren't limited to trainers and commentators.
Crawford making history when he came up against Canelo Alvarez, and he won it on points in Las Vegas, and that means he takes all of his super middleweight belts, becoming the first fighter in the modern era to become undisputed champion in 3 weight classes. The man to my left was in Spain. Mr. Jordan got out his bed at 5 in the morning and watched it, and he no doubt saw Crawford speaking post-fight.
The great things come to those who wait. You know, the cream always rise to the top. All the time that they blocked me out, they said I wasn't fighting nobody, I can't beat this dude, I can't beat that dude. Every time that I got a chance, I wiped the floor with him. So just imagine where I would have been at today if I had got them opportunities a long time ago. But then again, it wasn't my time. My time is now. And I'm happy that everything played out the way it did. And you're looking at the undisputed champion of the world right now.
That is for sure. Is he the modern day GOAT now, Simon?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you can make the argument for Usyk too. I'm surprised he speaks like that because it's not normally the way he speaks. And the fact that he's got 3 undisputed means that he must have been given certain opportunities. So I'm surprised he felt the need to say that, but perhaps there was reasons behind it. I mean, Alvarez thought they were going to get him cold because he hadn't fought for 13, 14 months, had some surgery and stuff like that. And the other side of the argument is they've got an Alvarez that's been fighting lesser than opposition. That is not what he once was before. He was there to be beaten by someone of the standard of Terence.
Fans across social media exploded with takes, many celebrating Crawford's brilliance, while others criticized Canelo for failing to adjust. Crawford himself, speaking after the fight, reflected on his long journey. He said that critics had always claimed he couldn't beat certain fighters or wasn't facing the best, but every time he got the chance, he proved them wrong.
Alvarez has been dramatically overrated throughout his entire career. The man has never been and never will be an A A-plus level elite fighter. Canelo Alvarez is a B-level fighter. Now, this is something even myself had wrong. I thought at one point Canelo Alvarez was an A-level fighter. He has never been an A-level fighter. He's been dramatically overrated, and that's a product of great matchmaking for Canelo Alvarez. The man is a B-plus fighter at best. His best wins are B-level fighters, and the man has never beat an A-level plus elite fighter throughout his entire career. I mean, Canelo Alvarez, he's unable to make adjustments. A-level fighters are able to make adjustments. Canelo Alvarez is one-dimensional. A-level fighters are not one-dimensional. Canelo Alvarez has poor footwork. A-level fighters has great footwork. Canelo Alvarez is extremely predictable. A-level fighters are not predictable. A-level fighters has a variety of tools in their tool belt. Canelo Alvarez is a B-plus level fighter, but that's not an insult to Canelo Alvarez. This man beats a lot of fighters. He's done a lot of great things in his career. And I know a lot of people may have an issue with this, but let me break it down. An A-level fighter would not get dominated 3 times in their career. Canelo Alvarez has been dominated 3 times in his career. He was dominated by Floyd Mayweather. He was dominated by Dimitri Bivol, and he was dominated by Terence Bud Crawford. I'm sorry, A-level plus elite fighters do not get dominated. An example of A-level plus elite fighters is Floyd Mayweather, is Dimitri Bivol.
The fight itself was analyzed heavily. Observers noted that Crawford shut down Canelo's offense by keeping him outside, jabbing him whenever he tried to get inside, and countering with sharp uppercuts and right hands. Canelo threw single shots and often came back squared, making him an easy target.
That we could learn from both of them. I think there's something that Terence Crawford did very well. He did not allow Canelo to get inside, man. Like, as soon as Canelo would get into that certain range, he would jab him. He would jab him, and then occasionally he would go low. Canelo Alvarez could not pop his. He couldn't get inside because pretty much Bud, he's a southpaw, and I feel like Terence Crawford. I mean, I feel like Canelo Alvarez had problems with southpaws, but not just that, dude. It was the range of what Terence Crawford had, dude, and not just that, man. Terence Crawford was actually countering Canelo Alvarez quite a bit. So as Canelo would throw, he would just sit there, wait, block, and then boom, an uppercut or a right hand. Another mistake that Canelo was making too is he was throwing like one shot, and then he was coming back squared, and that's when Terence Crawford would actually catch him. We didn't see any like lateral moves where he would throw and maybe push off to the side, as we used to see Canelo Alvarez as what he would do in these fights. The Allegiant Stadium, there was a lot of people there. Terence Crawford had the ability to fight backwards and stay composed, good defense, hands was always up, countering everything that Canelo was throwing at him. He was just a little more active fight. I mean, looking at the fight, bro, like, it was competitive. Canelo did hit him to the body, but it was pretty much all Terence Crawford, man. I don't know how many rounds I actually gave Canelo, but I want to see a rematch. I want to see a rematch because Canelo did mention, I didn't feel good. Like, my body was just, it wasn't reacting. My mind wanted to, but there was something physically with my body that it just felt different. So, but overall, I mean, boxing tends to put these big events, these fights don't show out like the UFC.
One of the more emotional elements came from fans who had long believed Canelo's chin was invincible. Throughout his career, Alvarez had absorbed heavy shots without appearing badly hurt, building the myth of one of boxing's greatest chins. Against Crawford, though, while he wasn't knocked out, the accumulation of clean punches visibly wore him down. Some critics said this showed his chin had been overrated all along. The boxing world may continue to debate Alvarez's legacy, but after this night, the consensus is that Terence Crawford proved himself to be on another level. Fans, analysts, and legends alike came together in rare agreement that what unfolded in Las Vegas was more than just a fight. It was a turning point in the sport. Crawford's words summed it up best when he said, "My time is now."
Was going to create history. I told you guys this before he fought Sean Porter. I said that Terence Bud Crawford can beat first ballot Hall of Famer and superstar and legend Canelo Alvarez. I've been saying this for years, that Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. And tonight, he did just that. He did just that. Not only did he beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, but he arguably retired Canelo Alvarez, who after the fight, Canelo Alvarez stated that he's done everything that he needed to do in the sport of boxing. When asked do he want a rematch with Terence Bud Crawford, Canelo Alvarez said, it's no need. He gave no indications of a rematch. And Canelo Alvarez stated that he's a Hall of Famer, he's a winner, just being there made him a winner, right? And he stated that he's done everything he needed to do in the sport of boxing. That's what he said. Canelo Alvarez got schooled once again. I told you guys, styles make fights. This style, this particular style of boxers and counterpunchers and movers has historically given Canelo Alvarez problems. And as I told you guys, right? Terence Crawford can fight any which way he chooses to fight. He's just that much more versatile.